3, 2, 1, roll the footage. Welcome back, everybody. Simon Severino here, your host. And today we have the owner of LAM Look Ahead Marketing. He helps heart-centered entrepreneurs discover their superpowers and then use them. Today we will dive deep into how we can use less marketing speak, why the owner should be the center of the business, and how you can reframe your product and marketing so that it stands out. Welcome, everybody. James Lam.
Hello, Simon. Good to be here, my friend. Thanks for inviting me on.
Excited to hear everything about marketing. And what are you currently creating?
Yeah, so I'm currently creating a community of heart-centered entrepreneurs who actually believe in themselves, oddly enough. That's what we do at Look Ahead Marketing. That's what we really specialize on. So my friends, my gig is helping five-figured heart-centered entrepreneurs become monetized and figure out their best self. So when I mean heart-centered entrepreneurs, we tend to deal with a lot of solopreneurs, a lot of healers, a lot of alternative health practitioners, a lot of coaches. We deal with a lot of coaches. And what we do is we help them believe in themselves. We take the steps to figure out their gift, wrap their marketing around their gift, figure out their marketing, and then get on the monetization ladder so they finally believe in themselves and they can actually sell something and they understand the promise of their product. And we've been doing it for about a year, Simon, and it's gone really, really well. And we're thrilled to do it. And that's what we're currently building. And every time we do it, it gets just that little bit bigger and more exciting.
The ones that are not heart-centered, what centered are they?
Well, this is the funny thing, right? We would, and you and I understand there's mechanics to business, right? What I'm going to call mechanics to business, which is kind of, you and I are part of a similar group where we talk about, what's your strategy for getting more conversion? What's your strategy? And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's one of the best things about the group, right? I work with people who have inspiring messages and they're so what we call heart-centered, in there to support the people, in there to create change, in there to save people from themselves, that they forget to put themselves first. And so one of the things that happens is they do all this work for free, or they end up supporting everybody else, and they forget to support the most important person in business for themselves, which is themselves, Simon. So, So the reason why I mention these two things is a couple things. One of them is, and we're starting to get into the top, but one of the things is I told you about mechanics of entrepreneurship, the ability to use strategy to improve your conversion, the ability to use strategy to improve your leads. And a lot of people do this, but they also remove themselves out of the system. So they do it in exclusion of the people that they are, as in they just cold do it and they forget about the reason why they're here. And the other reason why I'm telling you this is because these people have such an inspiring message, and all they need to do is understand that they can bring light and amazement to the world, and they aren't able to do it yet.
Wow, light and amazement to the world. And so tell us, if people work with you, what happens in the first weeks?
Well, the first weeks are all about finding your gift, why you are here. So the honest to goodness truth is a lot of my crowd tend to lead with certification. I am a certified life coach. I am a certified, practitioner of Reiki. And one of the challenges there, certification is great. It also is an indication of a minimal competence in something. I.e., if you're certified as an engineer, you can build a bridge. It's probably not going to fall, but it won't be the best bridge ever, right? And what I'm trying to have them understand is most of my crowd are heart-centered. Most of my crowd have lessons that they've learned from somewhere else. And those lessons and experiences are really the thing they should be leading with instead of the certification. So it's one of the things that I'm able to teach them and able to get them to believe in themselves, Simon. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Absolutely. And why should we talk less marketing speak?
Marketing speak is something that we do sometimes where we hide ourselves. And we take a formula. Essentially, it looks like this, right? Essentially, it looks like this. It's I'm going into a group program, and I can't share my message right now, and no one's understanding it, and they're going to tell me how I'm going to say it so I can sell millions. And the honest to goodness truth, Simon, is, you know, we tend to go for these marketing coaches because we want to hide ourselves. The honest to goodness truth is we need, like in my experience anyways, the most successful people are the people who fully lay it out, what they do, their experiences, the reason why they're here, and what the transformation is. And it's as simple as that, right? One of the interesting things is our marketing speak continues to move a lot as we continue to grow as entrepreneurs. I don't know if you've noticed that or not. Like my marketing, what I talk about is definitely different than what I talk about 2 years ago. Yet it's still relevant, and we don't have it hammered down primarily because it continues to move, and that's okay. So what I'm saying is when we use pre-canned marketing speak, a lot of the times it leaves people flat and people don't understand. When we actually just have, our heart-centered selves first and what we do, it works better. And I'll give you a perfect example. Okay, we had someone named Paige Stevenson who did my 12-week course. And it doesn't matter that she took it. This is the change, okay? In the beginning, we would be like, Paige Stevenson, what do you do? And she would say, well, I help business owners get clarity on their next steps. And I'm like, oh, that sounds great. What are you? Are you a marketing coach? Are you a business coach? Are you a strategy person? Like, are you a scaling person? What do you do? And she's like, oh, James, I don't do any of that. Well, what do you do? I talk to the angels. And there's nothing wrong with this, right? What I'm saying though is now and so for many months she had been putting up zeros on the board, Simon. Zero revenue, zero revenue, zero revenue. And I think that's one of the things that a lot of my entrepreneurs experience, to be perfectly honest. We changed it to, my name is Paige Stevenson. I talk with the angels so that you're able to figure out the next steps in business. Great. She ended up scoring $7,000 in the next 2 weeks, which is crazy, right? After putting up months and months of zeros. And so just that little change for what she's leading with makes the biggest difference.
I love it. And in a minute, we will dive deep why we as the business owner should build everything around us, which might be counterintuitive right now for many listeners. But before, one word from our sponsors.
Hey, if you like the tools, go grab them for free at strategysprints.com/tools.
So why should the owner be at the center of the business?
I gotta, Simon, that wasn't even a minute, but that was 10 seconds. You gotta say it. The owner needs to be at the center. So look, my crowd needs to understand that you cannot outthink your business. You cannot out strategize it. Okay. One of the things that we focus on is, at some point in time when you got into business, I mean, remember when you got into business, and crowd, when you're listening, remember when you got into business, you got in there because you were like, I think I can do this. And I think I can bring my amazing self to the world and whatever it is, a sense of excitement. We lose that somewhere around like month 3 to 1 year in. And part of the reason why we lose it is because entrepreneurship is difficult, right? That is one of the challenges of entrepreneurship. You will fail at some point in time. And if you haven't failed, you're just not trying hard enough. And that's only my personal opinion, okay? So the people I work with, they tend to have lost themselves into a sea of systems and procedures and coaches and beliefs and thoughts. And the current paradigm is, I am not enough. I need to go out and learn something new. And if I just take this other course, if I just take this other thing, it's gonna bring it to the forefront, right? The honest to goodness truth is, one of the things that I do really simply is have them build a business around themselves. So there's 3 main topics, right? One of them is we already talked a little. We talked a little bit about marketing talk. Number 2, we're gonna wrap the elements of business around it. Number 1, how to reframe your product. So number 2 is what we're talking about, which is how to wrap all the elements of the business around the owner. Look. The honest to goodness truth is, your business is not going to be a shining star as all of a sudden you just decide to use Twitter and join a coach, right? What we need to do is figure out the product, the messaging, the marketing that is built around you, the business owner. So I see a lot of people, we had one person who said, I'm going to tell you a story here. We had one person who who chimed up in the middle of the thing and in the middle of the 12-week session. She was like, I don't want to do Facebook Lives. And this is one of the most inspirational people ever, super shy. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I said, why do you want to do Facebook Lives? She said, because everybody else says I should do Facebook Lives. And I said, don't do Facebook Lives. If you don't want to do Facebook Lives, don't do Facebook Lives. The honest to goodness truth, Simon, and you know this as well as I do, when we all have tricks around different channels, but you can succeed in business in any channel as long as you are authentically you. And that's one of the basic premises I'm going to talk about. So wrap all the elements, your product, wrap your marketing channels, wrap your message, wrap what you want to do around yourself. Does that make sense what I'm saying, Simon?
Does make sense. Because when somebody is not themselves, I don't care where I am, it doesn't feel right? I don't resonate.
Yes.
And I'm super curious, from all the people that you know, who do you pick for the strategy award? When everybody's zigging, this person is zagging, but from your perspective, they're doing the right thing. Who do you pick?
I have Ann Gordon. I don't know if you know Ann Gordon or not. She is part of the group that we're introduced in. I really like her because she continues to do the right thing in spite of everything else. So I am happy to, we'll reach out to and make a connection, Simon. I'm happy to do that.
And where do you take your inspiration from? Are there particular books or podcasts that inspire you?
Yeah, I really like books. I really like, I get inspiration from hanging around people like yourself. And this is the honest to goodness truth, right? I really like hanging around with people who are thoughtful, are kind, and are inspiring. Those are the three elements that I really appreciate, okay? The books I would recommend, I'm going to recommend 3 books, and these have really changed my life. So, if you were an entrepreneur, well, let me put it this way. They're just really good. So one of them is called Mindset by Carol Dweck. It talks about the difference between a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. Have you read it, Simon?
I did.
Okay. So I'm just going to, the really, really quick synopsis is this, okay? A fixed mindset cannot grow is a pass-fail mentality. And when you fail, you kind of go in the doldrums and you think you're a failure. That is not the truth. Growth mindset is this failed, what did I learn, right? And so we get better every time we fail. Number 2 is Brene Brown. It's kind of like my pop fiction book that I love. It's called Rising Strong. It talks about essentially what I talk about here, which is rising from your failures. Instead of what the paradigm that the world tells us, which is hide from the failures, we actually rise from the failures and we become stronger by embracing our mistakes. That is essentially what the book is. And yes, I'm paraphrasing the entire book into like 2 lines, okay? The last one's what's called The War of Art, as opposed to The Art of War. It's War of Art by Stephen Pressfield. It's all about getting over resistance, right? What is your resistance from doing a number of things? What is your resistance from standing up tall? What is your resistance from being the best person that you can be? What is your resistance from learning something new? And a lot of the times it's that societal paradigm wrapped around failure. And so this breaks it down and it gives you an indication of when resistance is creeping up and what to do about it every time. Those 3 books, my friends, they have a common theme is this is it, right? The common theme is it's okay to fail, find the lessons in failure, and get stronger every time. And I think that is a commonality amongst all entrepreneurs, right, Simon? It's a commonality that threads through everything that we do, right? Whether you are just beginning and it's the first time that you're saying, this is what I stand for, or you're a multi-7-figure or 8-figure or 9-figure entrepreneur, and you are saying, you know what? I'm going to try something new and I may lose like a bunch of money on this and it's still scary, but it's also really exciting. Books have a common theme for everybody.
And it's so relevant right now to learn to really fail forward, because we are all failing in some area right now today as a society, as a planet. We are pretty failing in so many aspects, right?
Yeah.
But if we see that as something that propels our learning, that gives us the chance to improve how we act and how we do stuff, that's a whole other planet. And I was so much touched by Stephen Pressfield when I realized hey, even the work that I'm doing, like when I'm in front of 20 people and I think, oh, I got my 5K for that workshop. In reality, I was hiding from doing the work. And the work would have been saying no to the workshop, sitting down and writing a book or creating something that only I can create. So who else should do that? And that book was really punched me in the right direction. What is the resistance? We all have these resistances, right?
Isn't that interesting, hey? And I think you continue, it's how you know you're growing as an entrepreneur, right, Simon? So when you feel the resistance, you're like, well, this is something new. Let's get through it. Good for you.
And I'm super curious also to hear about how we can stand out, because there is so much competition out there. How can a coach, a consultant stand out?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I think one of the biggest things is I sound like a broken record a little bit, but wrapping your message around your best version of yourself and being proud of the person that you are. Most people, like I said, lead with certifications, right? Most people lead with some kind of pre-boxed product. I'll give you a perfect example of this. A pre-boxed product is one that you create a product. You're like, I'm going to do a product on mindset, and then you go and research all your competition, and you're like, oh, that our course doesn't cover that. It doesn't cover that. It doesn't cover that. I better create a course that looks similar to that. And the honest to goodness truth, Simon, is then your course is like a copycat, like everybody else. And we have enough copycats in the world, don't you think? So my challenge is always around building the product and transformation around yourself. As in, you have a certain set of experiences, you have a certain set of education, you have a certain set of paradigms and what it is. And let's build the exact transformation of the service, of the product around what you can achieve, as opposed to trying to be like everybody else. When we first started Learn Photography Canada, and your listeners don't know this, and that's totally okay, we still have our first business. It's called Learn Photography. It's a franchise. We have 10 locations around the world. We've had over 5,000 students come through our doors. The point is, we were also at one point in time failing and losing more money than I care to share, right? We were losing thousands of dollars a month. And it's because we were trying to do what I just said, which is become somebody else, like trying to not stand up. In fact, trying to compete with the universities is who we were trying to compete with. And so we made our website really university-like, Photography 201. And we would have like all the technical things and like really long descriptions. And we thought that's what would appeal to people because the university sold out every time. And we were losing money. And we did a shift. Thank goodness we smartened up, Simon. We did a shift and we said, we're going to focus on our gifts, our superpowers, if you will, of fun, support, and hands-on learning. And that's what we did. So you won't find anything in the university language there. And the result is, well, you'd see it now, right? Over 5,000 students, 10 locations around the world, right? We could have very easily closed the doors then. Instead, now we're where we are because we focused on not being something similar, wrapping our product, wrapping our messaging around ourselves. And that's one of the best things I can tell you for some of your listeners, Simon, is wrap it around what you can do really well. Like instead of worrying about our failures, which is what most entrepreneurs do, wrap it around what could be the most powerful version of you, and you're going to win.
The most powerful version of you. Beautiful. Is there anything I forgot to ask you?
Yes, there's one thing, and I'd like to share this with you. Look, team, it's almost a blatant sales pitch, but it's not. Let me put it this way, okay? Whatever it is you are building, if what I talked about appeals to you, if you are a 5-figure heart-centered entrepreneur who is in business for what I'm going to call the right reason to change the world in one manner or another, and you just can't get off the darn hamster wheel, I have a gift for you, and I'd love you to take it up. Okay, my company's Look Ahead Marketing. For those of you who are astute, yes, it's the last acronyms of my name, LAM. Look Ahead Marketing. So it's lookaheadmarketing.com/VIP freebie. It's really easy to remember. So it's lookaheadmarketing.com, all written out, /VIP freebie with an IE at the end, all lowercase. And I always provide value there. Like it's something that normally I'm happy to give it to Simon's crowd here. It's actually values. And I'll give you an example. Right now, we're doing a live workshop with me. We cap it at about 20 people. Okay. And it's actually a live workshop where we go through your product. We figure out the price points that's going to sell. We figure out the story arc that actually brings abundance. We figure out the gift we talk about that actually we're going to wrap the marketing around. And we start looking at your messages, right? And it's one of the best things that I can give you. Is there an offer at the end? Of course there is. And that's how the world goes around, right? So, but come out, it's completely free for you to come out, right? So go ahead and lookaheadmarketing.com/VIP freebie, my friend. And I promise you will not be disappointed. And Simon, I super appreciate you putting me on this as well.
And James, where do you hang out? Where can people find you?
The best thing to do, I have a group of heart-centered entrepreneurs on my inside Facebook group right now. And it's Everyday Superhero Entrepreneur. So I don't have the URL here, but it's Everyday Superhero Entrepreneurs. I'd love you to show up. There's about 1,000 of us there that hang out. We talk about things, and I'd love to have you join as well. It's a place that we all can grow together, where we can all support each other. Because the truth is, all of us could use more support, right? So there you go.
James Lam, everybody, Look Ahead Marketing. And who should be my next guest?
I think we should bring on either Ann Gordon or Kim Whitecamp. I have 3 names written for you, and I'll talk to you offline just to make sure you haven't met them, but they are awesome people. Ann Gordon does retreats that actually make money and change paradigms for people. Number 2, Kim Whitecamp does copywriting that is inspirational and amazing. And Simon, you are really good at this, and I know this because I'm on your list, right? Some people have trouble getting their copyright, and so she's an expert at that as well.
You know what's funny? Copywriting it took me 42 years to understand that copywriting is even a thing and it's important. And I started last year to really write emails, and now everybody says, "Wow, your emails!" But literally last year I was Googling what is copywriting.
it is an art form, right? So this is the challenge for you, and Simon does it really well, does it better than most people, make no mistake, right? One of the challenges we have is translating our thoughts and ideas onto paper. That's basically what it is. Short form, right?
Yeah, I'll give you one thing that the real good copywriter Brian Kurtz was here on the show, and he taught me one thing. It says, Simon, 3 fascinations. So whenever you write an email or whatever it is, and you want to invite people in, he would go, hey, this is the event, and then fascination 1, fascination 2, fascination 3. And I've applied that. It works. So the benefits, what will they get, right? 3 fascinations, and you get them in.
Mm-hmm. There you go. There's a whole line of, and I might introduce you to Rob Forti as well. So, yeah, let's reach out, Simon, because I'm happy. You are a great guy. They're great people. I'm happy to connect you to.
Thank you so much, James Lam. Everybody, Look Ahead Marketing. Thank you, James. See you soon.
Thank you, Simon.
Avoid trying to do thousands of things that doesn't work. We have 274 templates for your business success. Reach your ambitious goals with one-on-one sprint coach. We double your revenue in 90 days.